It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trataros, John Meleka, and Raisi on the beat. Let's go.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Alex Trataros here with another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me, as always, my buddy, my coach, pal, the man, the plan, the one and only, John Meleka. And with us to make this video crispy clean, the one and only video producer, Greg. We are back. Week 1 NFL, Jets versus the Ravens. They're home in MetLife. Let's go, baby. We're back. But before we get into these conversations, you all know the drill. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't already done so, please make sure to subscribe. We're on all audio listening platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Alexa, Stitcher, you name it. We are there. If you listen to us on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to give us that 5-star rating. And if you listen to us on Apple, please make sure to leave a review or comment. We're also partnered with Minute Media and Fansize. You can find this podcast on the Jet Press or the Daily Knicks. And we also got that YouTube page, Knicks, Jets, ETC, period. Find the page, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. When we watch a video, hit the like button, leave a comment, add to the conversation. We want to know your thoughts and opinions. We want to know who you think is going to win this week. It's going to be the Jets. It's going to be the Ravens. Is Joe Flacco going to get the revenge game that we're all hoping for? That sweet, sweet revenge game. Oh. And while you're also at that YouTube page,
sounds so
we got
scary.
Another podcast. We got another podcast, Winning Picks Weekly. John, producer Greg, and our guy and co-host Chip Murphy. These guys go through every sport possible. It's NFL season. Come on, we know you're placing your bets, taking the overs, the unders, the money lines, the spreads, everything. Okay, prop bets probably too. If you need help, these guys got you covered. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. John, Greg, gentlemen, we back, baby. We back. I feel like Michael Jordan submitted that letter. I'm back. That's how the New York Jets came through today. So let's go. Let's get into these conversations. How you guys feeling today?
Dude, feel amazing. The New York Jets are back. Week 1. We got Greg on with us for his first week 1 on camera game. We're all set, man. The injury reports came out today. I mean, that's how back we are. I mean, it's football eve. Happy football eve. When this comes out, it's going to be football day. I mean, it's here. So couldn't be feeling any better, man. The Knicks are finally napping. Thank the Lord. The Yankees are
for now.
For now, the Yankees are gearing up for October. Won the first game of a doubleheader today. Look for the second one. I mean, everything's good right now. Even Pulisic is being freed out in Chelsea. Shout out to American soccer. Everything's good. Besides Liverpool, everything's fantastic in the sports world.
Greg, how you feeling, bro?
Dude, I'm feeling great. It's actually like just hitting me now. Like all day I've been so excited, so ready to go for football. College football was amazing last weekend, getting that back. And it's just hitting me as we're starting to record that. We have a Jets game on Sunday, and I'm nervous. I got very nervous very fast about this Ravens team. I was feeling confident all day. Joe Flacco revenge game. I'm ready to go. And I start looking at stuff, and we're going to need some big-time games from some big-time players. So I'm excited to break it down. I'm excited to get into the offense and the defense and kind of, the keys to the game kind of a thing. But before that, Alex, how are you doing?
I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. I'm ready for this Joe Flacco revenge game. That's how I feel. We're going to take this one. Week 1, baby. We're going in week 1. Joe Flacco revenge game. We're getting that dub. That's how energized I feel today. All right.
I love it.
It's not too often that I'm feeling this energized for a Jets season.
I was about to say this
John
is amazing because like by week 6 is going to be completely different.
Oh, it's going to be all upside down.
I'm
Like,
enjoying
here
it.
we go.
Yeah.
We got to go talk about the Jets again.
I'm enjoying it right now. I'm enjoying it. But yo, Alex, you're talking about Joe Flacco. It's a great place to start because if you checked out our last Knicks episode, and we had Andrew Claudio there, producer of a bunch of shows. He got the Mets live stream. He's got the Knicks film school guy. He's got the movie pod. He's got it all going, man. And we had him on for a half Knicks, half Jets episode last week, so you can catch him over there. We talked about how, honestly, as fans, we're kind of in our feelings a little bit when it comes to, the owner, the general manager, and the head coach at this point. And man, I did not see it coming that on the next day I'm going to wake up and all of a sudden it's going to happen to the New York Jets. And it's honestly because of some words that were said, dude. And what we're talking about here is Coach Saleh came out today, officially declared that Zach Wilson, our franchise quarterback, who his preseason was kind of tough, had an interception in his first series and second series, non-contact knee injury, had a meniscus surgery with a bone bruise. He's not going to go on the injured list, which would put him away from the facility for 4 weeks. However, the first game that he's going to be back is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I mean, at first, I'm watching that, like, in my own universe, I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds right. This is exactly what we talked about on this podcast. Like, obviously we're going to let him rest a little bit. It's great that he's going to be at practice, so he's going to get the reps. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden, my phone blows up. Everyone's going nuts. The medical staff is incompetent. The coaching staff is a bunch of liars. Zach Wilson's never going to come back. We're going to start 0-4. I mean, literally every single bad scenario has gone through just since the press conference that I thought was status quo. So, Alex, I'll start with you here. You're hyped about the Flacco revenge game, so I won't even ask you, if you're worried about the backup here. But let's just start with Zach Wilson. Is this stock up, stock down right now on Zach Wilson for you? Like, did anything change? What are your feelings?
Nothing has changed with Zach Wilson for me right now. Okay, just because he's not able to play this week, just because we're going to be possibly waiting until October. Look, he's coming back off a surgery, right, that he had 2 weeks ago. What do you want him to do? Like, I get that everyone wanted to see him week one. I get that everyone wants to evaluate him. I get that we're just excited, right? Just generally excited to have a young quarterback that could potentially be good because of all the reports that we had last season. But legitimately, we need him to be ready to go and not rush him back. So if we're going to have Joe Flacco for the next month as Zach Wilson is ready, I'm fine with that. And just because, we could have gotten back based off like interpretations yesterday, literally interpretations.
But Alex, I'm not upset. 2 to 6 weeks. He said 2 to 6 weeks.
I don't care.
Yeah,
let me ask everybody this. All right, let me ask everybody this. You, the listeners, do you want a healthy quarterback for the entire season, or do you just want to rush him back for the instant gratification where he's maybe 75%, and just because he's able to play doesn't mean he's 100% ready to go, right? He could be 75% ready to go, 80% ready to go, but this is a physical sport we're talking about, and if he's not 100% ready, and we've seen this, we've seen athletes come back sooner than they were ready to come back, and then they get hurt all over again.
Forget
instantly.
That. Even if he stays healthy, the instant gratification might go real fast, as it happened in the preseason. I was really excited to see him in the preseason too, and that slipped away real quick. Greg, did your thoughts change today about Zach Wilson, or just in general about the franchise and the quarterback? Like, are you thinking about Bryce Young all of a sudden?
No, please God. Let me get a couple games of Zach Wilson this season before we start talking about Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. My thing that I guess I'm a little confused about wasn't yesterday the day where Coach Saleh said, "Oh, there's a chance he might be back week 1"?
That station wasn't yesterday. It was a couple of days ago, and that's the seed that planted it. And honestly, you took the words out of my mouth for the next question. So if you want to parlay it into are you starting to lose some faith in the Jets coaching staff, or just some trust in the Jets coaching staff? Right? I want to hear your thoughts about Wilson, but also, yeah, I mean, Salah came out the other day. He's like, "Oh, Zach Wilson, you never know." I mean, is he just playing a mind game with the Ravens, which obviously is not going to work, or is he? Do you like not trust him anymore?
So yeah, so to finish the Zach Wilson thing, I'm fine with Zach Wilson. I think we've all said it on this podcast. Take your time, come back healthy. You have to be 100% ready to go because this is the season to determine if you're going to be an NFL quarterback or not. So we want to give you the best opportunity possible. We surrounded you with veterans. We surrounded you with weapons. We surrounded you with young talent. There's no excuses now. It's year 2 of the coaching staff, year 2 of the OC, year 2 of the NFL for you. If you don't take a step, if not a leap this year, there's a good chance that we're looking elsewhere next year. So I think you have to give Zach Wilson the benefit of the doubt and all the opportunities of the world to perform the hardest position in sports at the highest level. So I think Zach Wilson's fine. Take your time, come back. What it brings me back to, John, to your point is I don't know if I've lost a little bit of faith in Coach Saleh, but to me, I can't remember. I'm having like deja vu. I don't know if it was earlier this offseason or if it was last year we were on here where there was an incident with Coach Saleh, and my thing was like, that's just a rookie head coach thing to say because it caused headlines and media in the biggest media market in the world. And to me, that's just another thing he did today. He's a young coach. Yes, he's been in the NFL for a while, but to something we talk about on Winning Picks Weekly, there's a big difference between being a coordinator and being a head coach. There's a big difference between being a first-time head coach and like some other NFL coaches that are new to a new team this year, but they've coached other places. When you're a first-time head coach, there is such a wide range of things you have to tackle and do at a high level, including press conferences and not saying stuff like, oh, Zach Wilson, he might be ready for week 1. And then the next day come out and be like, actually, he won't be back till game 4 at the earliest. Like, you just can't do that as a coach. So sometimes less is more. I haven't lost faith in Coach Saleh because I do believe that he's the best coach we've had, I think, since Rex. So I'm okay with him. I just think it's just a rookie mistake.
Let me ask you this, Greg. Is there a difference if he came out and said, oh, yeah, he's practicing. We'll see. We're evaluating day to day. Or if he said, it's possible. Who knows? It's possible he might come out, might play 100%. Who knows? Like, it's not, he might play. I don't know. Like, is there a real difference, or is it just like your style? Like, honest to God, because one of those people are a bona fide genius if he says that, and the other one we want to put him out at the stake. And for me, it's the same damn sentence. Like, I don't. It's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I think it's preference. I also think not to like twist my head around or put me in a pretzel. I liked what you said in the first one, but I like the tone in which you said the second one. So if I could combine those two somehow, you get the tonality of the second answer, but what you said in the first answer, I think that's the best way to go about it. But again, as an NFL head coach, you don't have. No one's holding a gun to your head saying you have to give us the answers. You have to tell us what's going on in the building. Just, give the media enough, but, don't give them too much. So, like I said, I think it's a rookie, even though it's a second year, a new head coach mistake. It's going to happen. It's going to happen all year for this Jets coaching staff because it's the second year for them up and down the board. So, learn from it, get better at it, but stop teasing us with Zach Wilson. He's going to be back week 4, maybe. But don't commit to it. Just, he'll be back when he's ready. He's not ready right now. There you go.
Alex, Greg wants Bill Belichick's words with Salah's demeanor.
Yeah.
And then he's cool with it. Yeah. Have your thoughts changed on the coaching staff since, is this headlines because we're just excited about week 1? But, I guess.
Yes.
I guess there's a gripe,
man.
It's an issue here?
It's excitement for week 1. 2, it's also the New York media, so they're ready to spin anything in a negative light. Like, let's just be honest about that. So my thoughts haven't changed on Robert Saleh at all or the coaching staff. I think they're, I'm looking more so to analyze what's happening on the field. It's like Rex was a great coach. We went to two back-to-back AFC championships. Everything was great. And then when you're not winning, everything just falls apart. So if this team's winning, no one's going to care what Robert Saleh said about Zach Wilson in the beginning of the season and how he phrased everything, right? That is the biggest key to what needs to happen this season. Could he say it better? Could we do this? I mean, we can go back and forth, be like, well, he should say it this way. Well, he should say it that way. Just if he's winning, it's not going to matter. It's just not going to matter.
And the bottom line is, it doesn't look like all three of us are worried about Zach Wilson. Anyway, it's kind of status quo. We expect him to be out a couple weeks, and we kind of wanted it, especially we mentioned Flacco. Ravens, we'll get to the full preview here shortly. We talked, in circles about Mike White versus the Bengals, and that's week 2. We'll get to that, when appropriate, but we'll see. We'll see how this works out for the Jets versus the AFC North. But before we get to that, we talked about the quarterback. We talked about the head coach. Now it's time to talk about the general manager and Greg's favorite player on the New York Jets, and that's CJ Mosely, who is going to be on this New York Jets team for 2 more years as he's restructured his contract, saving the Jets about $17 million. Right? I think we have $17 million total in cap space right now. Before I ask Greg how he feels about CJ Mosely sticking on, and honestly, a little preview into week 1 here. I'm curious as to how he thinks he's going to perform coming out. But did you know that CJ Mosely in 16 games, right? He missed 1 last year, was second in the league in tackles at 103. Pretty good. Making a lot of tackles, Greg.
It's not good.
A lot of tackles.
Shouldn't be leading the league in tackles. That's not good.
Are you going to tell us about how we're bad against the run with CJ Mosely? How do you feel about CJ Mosely staying for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I think he's a good player. When he's on the field, he has to stay on the field. That's been one of my major gripes with him, if not the only real gripe, is that he's never fully healthy all season long. I think him and Quan are the best linebacking core we've had in years, so I'm okay with that. Again, another guy who has to stay healthy. I don't think he's played a full season in forever. So
honestly, since Bart Scott and Demario Davis.
Yeah. If these guys are healthy all season, it definitely could be. It's exciting. So happy for him. Happy that we were able to restructure and save a little money. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know you guys are a little bit better with like salary cap and all that stuff on why we need to free up $16 million right this second. It's just good to have, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't mind having $16 million in the bank to play with, so maybe that's what Joe Douglas was thinking. But anytime you can restructure a player and save money, I'm all for it.
Well, the thing is, like, you're not saving money; you're just pushing money, right? So that's why it's guaranteed that he's going to be on the team for 2 more years, right? We could have let him go next year.
Okay.
So we're moving the money, and I mean, this is where the tinfoil hat comes on, because Dwayne Brown's already paid. The only person that is really looking for money right now is George Fant out at right tackle, but he doesn't want right tackle money, and I'm sure the Jets don't want to pay a right tackle, left tackle money after the best season's ever had at left tackle. Right? And I don't know. I'm sure there's some trepidation there. So why is there $17 million on the books now? I don't know. Is it just in case? Is it we're going to see what happens at safety, and once we get absolutely murdered by Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, we're going to trade for Jesse Bates before week 2 Bengals game? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the deal is. Alex, do you have any thoughts on CJ Mosely restructure, keeping him for an extra year, and any thoughts about this extra $17 million as to why they would do this?
Like why they would give him an extra $17 million, you ask?
They didn't give him an extra. They purposely moved the money so that they have to keep Mosely for 1 more year. And in turn, they save $17 million for this year. Presumably, that means they need the $17 million this year, which is why you're going to, keep prolonging your books that way.
I guess just in case to add somewhere for down the line. Look, they don't want to be capped out just in case. We've seen this team go through a lot of injuries and needing to add players at some point. So they probably want money back on this team in case the worst happens, right? It is football. Injuries do happen. You don't want to be capped out. You don't want to have to go over the salary cap just because players get injured. You don't have enough room to sign anybody. But also keeping him for 1 more year, I think that's just trusting him too and saying, we believe you to be part or the leader of this defense moving forward. And even though he took off one season like anyone else would during COVID season where you have to play for Adam Gase, I would have done the same thing. He comes back and he's in shape. He looks great, right? And yes, he led the league in tackles. It's not great because that means we were probably on the field for much longer than we needed to be, but that's not his fault. All right. That's not the defense's fault. That's an offensive issue when your quarterback can't keep the offense on the field to give your defense a rest. So I'm happy. Like, I wouldn't say I'm happy. I'm content with CJ Mosely being around for another season. I like what I see.
That means
like
another extra, right? Like this year, 2023,
yes,
and 2024 probably.
Yeah,
and just
I'm content with it.
He's gonna be 32 in 2024.
And just to tack on
That's
to
fine.
it too, it's a two-way street, right? Like he had to agree to it, we had to agree to it. So
yeah,
as someone who's presumably the leader of this defense, like Alex said, I think it's great signs that he wants to stay. He sees we're building something, and that we are able to get people in the building. So I think it's a good indicator for us that a veteran player such as him wants to stay on longer.
all right. Sure. So let's talk about veterans. Let's talk about signings. And finally, we got DJ Reed in a limited practice today. Finally, welcome to the New York Jets. It's a Wednesday, September 7th. We got a game on Sunday, bro. It's nice to meet you. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. We need you out there, bro, because we don't have a free safety. I'm sorry to say. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but I'm not really optimistic about our fortune versus tight ends. And the Jets going on 2 years in a row now, and I think holding it down for the last 4 or 5 years as the worst team against tight ends, consistently letting over 1,000 yards to tight ends. This week we're playing Mark Andrews, and we're playing Isaiah Likely, the draft pick from Coastal Carolina, who had an amazing preseason, who had an amazing college career, who's likely, no pun intended, going to have an amazing NFL career. And so I'm glad DJ Reed is back. Justin Hardy also practiced. That's more for special teams. Other than that, looking pretty healthy on the defense. Speaking of, we're on the defense. We're on CJ Mosely here. He's obviously, I hope he's not, he doesn't have like a paid syndrome in his head because, I think we're past that. DJ Reed, hopefully he's going to play, guy that we just signed. What are you guys' thoughts on this defense versus the Lamar Jackson-led Ravens, who he's looking for a contract by Friday? I don't know if that's going to affect it either way. Personally, I think he's going to tear us up regardless of whether he has a contract or not. But what do you guys think about this Jets defense? Alex, I'll start with you, man.
Look, I think this defense going in should be pretty solid against Lamar Jackson. I think the only thing that we don't this is the one thing we know we can't cover the tight end, and Mark Andrews is probably going to kill us. We know we can't cover a running back out of the backfield. But can we also cover a mobile quarterback who's a dual threat? So
that's where Quan Alexander comes through. At least Quan Alexander. You got to at least do that, and hopefully our edges kind of, maybe contain, maybe put a bump here or there. Maybe Sauce Gardner eliminating a side of the field, even though they have no wide receivers. Maybe they use that to some sort of advantage, or we can blitz from that side. I don't know, dude. The line is at 7. The Jets are getting 7 points here. The over-under is 44.5. If the Jets want to do anything, we have to, and I know Greg's going to get into it, the Jets against the run last year, but we have to stop the run. We got to get off the field on third downs, obviously. We got to get turnovers, obviously, right? That's what everybody says. But in this case, we have to stop the tight ends. We got to stop the run game, and we got to keep this an ugly game, man. This is a game of field position because the Ravens have the 2 best kickers and the best kicker tandem in the league, with Justin Tucker kicking field goals, which could always dagger you, and they got Jordan Stout, one of the best punters in the league. So it's just going to be, from my perspective, a defensive position type of deal here. That's the only chance we have to win. Greg, what are your prospects on Jets defense week 1? against the Baltimore Ravens at home opener, baby.
Home opener.
9-11.
Very
at
excited.
Home.
But boy, this is a tall order. So again, as we know, the Jets' defense was the worst part of our team last year. I think we improved it a lot
Everything
in the
was the worst
offseason.
part, Greg. Everything was the worst part.
Yeah.
There's no sugarcoating it.
But the defense was, led the league in, or was worse than the league in just about every defensive statistical category. I mean, it was insane. And what sucks is that the Ravens' offense, even though they were very injured, the Ravens' offense and defense, one of the most injured teams last year. I think the Titans technically had the most NFL players on their roster of any team last year, but the Ravens were right up there with injuries. The Jets were right up there with injuries. We had a ton of injuries. But that being said, Ravens, first in plays per game, third in time of possession, third in rushing yards per game, third in rushing attempts per game, 9 in pass attempts per game. Like they play fast. They move down the field. The clock keeps ticking. You're going to have to get stops, to John's point. And this is going to be an incredible test for our defensive line that we've talked about all offseason. I think is much improved. Granted, there's a couple young pieces there. Granted, there's a couple question marks with Carl Lawson. You know, how healthy can he be week one? How many snaps is he even going to play week one? It's going to be an incredible test for them, but they're home. And I think we make a step here. I don't think it's going to be anything great, but I think it's not going to be awful. I don't think we're going to be hanging our heads after this game. I don't think we're going to be, in the third quarter being like, I can't believe I have to watch 2 more quarters of this. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think both teams are going to try to run the ball a lot. I think it's going to be possession game, and we're going to need this defense at some point to get a turnover. So I'm interested to see, are they going to throw to Sauce? We have yet to see anyone throw to Sauce this whole entire preseason. So, is it going to happen? I don't know. So I'm concerned, but I also, optimistic about this defense. I think if we're going to take a step this year, we're going to have to show it week one, because it's going to be a week in, week out thing. There's a lot of this whole AFC North has pretty good offenses besides the Steelers, so it's going to be a tough couple weeks for us to start this year. We're all healthy right now, to John's point. We're going to have to go out there and show something week one, and we're going to have to get a turnover.
Speaking of Carl Lawson, awesome story by Connor Hughes of SNY about his dad going through a kidney transplant, and this is the first time he's finally going to get to see Carl Lawson play, which is awesome. So hopefully, you mentioned Carl Lawson. Hopefully,
very cool.
He has a really big game for us and for him personally. That'd be pretty awesome. You mentioned the Ravens offense and the running. Besides Lamar Jackson, who we all know, don't sleep on Mike Davis, bro. He killed us last year. The Falcons right in front of my face in London. He got that touchdown, but he was getting third downs, man. He's so good. He broke out for that 17-yard third down. He's gonna catch it out of the backfield, and we better be able to tackle him. I honestly am very worried about the run game, but dude, the best part. I'm no defensive coordinator, but the best part about both teams that are trying to run, both teams that are trying to throw and kind of run the clock here, is not only the under, but there's something about ugly football that attracts me to this Jets team. I feel like we could finally close in because they have no wide receivers. Right, so I'm just stacking. I'm just going to stack against the run and double Mark Andrews. And if they put Likely, also make sure that he's guarded by somebody who can get out there. Because what is Duvernay and Bateman going to do? It's nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're not going to throw towards Gardner. Why would they? They would be dumb to. So, in my opinion, they have one job to do. And that's to stop the run. 2 jobs. Stop the run and stop the tight end. I just have no faith they're going to stop the tight end. So they really have one job to do, to stop the run, whether it's from the quarterback or that's from a running back. And that's the key to this game for me, for the defense. And it's funny, there's going to be some fun guys on the offensive line, some familiar faces for the Jets, like Morgan Moses, right tackle, wish we had him. Tyler Linderbaum, a fan favorite
Talked about him a lot this offseason.
Yeah, center from Iowa.
Yeah, we did.
They got, Ronnie Stanley at left. They're pretty stacked, dude.
Yeah, while you're talking about the Ravens, too, you're talking about their rushing attack. Last year they were without J.K. Dobbins. They were without Gus Edwards. A lot of it was on Lamar Jackson's back and a couple other, backup guys that they had. I think by the end of the season, they were, trotting out, Le'Veon Bell and stuff. So, J.K. Dobbins also not fully recovered from his injury last season. So, there's rumors about him possibly not playing week 1 or limited snaps. So to your point, Mike Davis already, their backup running back, might be their lead back week 1. I think Justice Hill is the backup behind him. So,
well, Kenyon Drake is there. He's eaten us up before too.
All these talk about pass catching running backs.
Yeah. What's going to come down to is can we stop the run? Can we stop the tight end? But I think the biggest thing is improv with this team. When you play the Baltimore Ravens, the team, they'll have their set plays, but if we watch them from what Lamar Jackson can do every single season, it's that once the play starts breaking down, he starts using his legs, he gets out to the open, or he just makes a deep pass somehow just because everything breaks down, corners are losing their men, or linebackers are losing their guys as well. And it's what can our defense do when the fire alarms are pulled, right? Yeah. Are they going to keep their head? Are they going to are they going to stay locked in, or are they going to get are they going to break down and be concerned and start looking for their guys and not knowing how to keep everyone in front of them or in the right area for the zone coverage that they have? That's what's going to come down to, especially on the defensive end. That's just, and can the Jets stop them? I believe so. I believe they can do that with the Ravens, because the Ravens, there's only so much you can rely on improv, man. There's just so much you can, they've made so many runs with it.
It's called Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is the safety valve. Yeah. Mark Andrews is the safety valve, the safety blanket, whatever you want to call it, for Lamar Jackson. They don't have Hollywood Brown anymore, right? You don't know if the Gus Bus is going to be healthy. You don't know whoever's going to be out there at running back. Mike Davis. Yeah. Staten Island getting hit on this podcast. But look, that's where it just comes down to. I think offensively is where the Jets are going to be in this. John, I don't know if you pointed it out earlier in the pod, but the line right now is at 7 between the Jets and the Ravens. And you got the over-under is 45.5.
44.5.
It's what did I say? 45? Yeah, 44.5. It's 44.5. You see it's going to be a decent scoring game. They got it at 7. So it's a touchdown that we're talking about. The Jets offense is going to be in here, and we can count on Flacco to give us some of those big plays and to manage at this point of the season.
We can
we've seen it. Yeah, we can. I mean, we've seen that last season against the Cardinals. We saw that against the Dolphins, where he's able to find guys. The question is,
I would like to bottle up this optimistic Alex and save him for a couple of weeks, because I don't know. I feel like they're a little too high right now. They're riding a little too high.
I'm saying
big plays from Joe Flacco.
Not a lot. It's going to happen. It's going to happen where we're going to get 14 points. It's probably going to be 14 points where we'll get out of Joe Flacco from a broken play that we're going to get him, or he's going to find Elijah Moore on a breakaway, or Garrett Wilson,
Marcus Peters, Marcus Williams, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Fuller. Those are just the DBs. I don't know where the big play is coming from.
Hamilton.
Man, it's
Kyle Hamilton. I mean,
some people will say we should take
everyone.
You
get it. Can't be perfect, man. You can't be perfect. You can't be perfect during this type of game. So I'm expecting something to break down. I'm expecting Joe Flacco to get one big play, but it'll be a slug, man. But we're really gonna have to just control this tempo of the game through the ground and pound. Breece Hall, Michael Carter. I'm expecting a lot of checkdowns. I'm expecting Conklin. I'm expecting Uzoma. I'm expecting those guys to be playing the bulk of it. But because we're going to be doing a lot of spread, short stuff, you're going to catch a DB sleeping at the wheel for 1 second. And I think Flacco still got enough juice to connect, as we saw last season.
God, I hope that's Kyle Hamilton. So bad.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking for this game. Also, it's a revenge game. I'm playing into this. I'm playing into this narrative.
But I have a question. With that narrative,
Alex.
I have a question. Yeah. Do you think, in this case specifically, there's more of an advantage for Harbaugh or for Flacco? Because revenge in my, like, I understand the Flacco could control it.
Probably more for Harbaugh, just because he knows Flacco, and this is a totally new team for Flacco that he doesn't know.
Yeah, I know Flacco could control it on the field, but I don't know. It's something about the Harbaughs, man. Like he knows like what smells Flacco doesn't like. I know at this point, and I don't know. I can't trust them as far as I can throw them. Greg, what do you think, man?
I don't know what to think, because I think the Ravens were terrible last year against the pass, but they had so many injuries. To your point, they bring back a lot of players now off injury, plus drafting Kyle Hamilton. I think they might have one of the best secondaries in the league if everyone stays healthy. So, I don't have too much to go off of last year.
I agree.
So,
I mean, the good news is, for us, good news. Travis Jones, another draft pick that we love, the D tackle. He's not practicing yet, so he's probably not going to be there. So they got Calais Campbell up front. Okay, Michael Pierce.
Yeah.
They're good. They got Patrick Queen, linebacker, beast. But that is where we're gonna win. We're gonna have to win in the in-between game. I 100% agree.
Yeah, to me, it's the short to intermediate passes. Joe Flacco on time, in rhythm, hitting Elijah Moore for 4 yards, and then letting Elijah Moore make a play. Garrett Wilson make a play. To Alex's point, maybe something breaks down. Corey Davis gets open deep, and we get a bomb to him. But I think if we're going to win this game, Conklin, Uzama, to Alex's point, it's going to be that middle to intermediate dink and dunk, 10 yards max passes, because even though the secondary was really bad last year, Ravens first in defense ranking and rushing yards per game, third in defense and ranking in rushing yards per attempt. So even though their defense secondary was bad last year, that rushing defense was good, and they're all back and they're healthy and they're ready to go. So I think it's going to be tough sledding for Breece Hall, even though I'd like to see him really get some work early in the season. Michael Carter, I think it's going to be tough for them. So I think it's going to be that middle to intermediate, passing game that's going to have to work for us if we're going to win this game.
Interesting that you mentioned that, Greg. The official, it is Wednesday. Not only the injury reports come out, but the first official depth charts came out. Right? Yep. And that's why Salah had to mention Zach Wilson to kind of get real with it. After what he thought was probably just a little cheeky, whatever. Haha, it could be 100%, whatever.
Yeah.
Michael Carter ahead of Breece Hall on the depth chart. Another one that I thought was interesting that nobody has brought up, Lawrence Cager ahead of Rucker. I mean, talk about a come up for this guy. Third on the depth chart. I mean, if anyone's not going to get dressed, it's not going to be him. I mean, what a come up for this guy, back and forth from the practice squad, change positions. So shout out to him. We mentioned Dwayne Brown and McDermott, our two left tackles, both not fully practicing. Not a great look, but hopefully that gets a little better. You mentioned the wide receivers here. Is there anything that gives you a little weird note here with the official depth chart on the offense? Or are you good with Carter, Hall, Ty Johnson, and kind of the way the wide receivers worked out as well? Jeff Smith behind Braxton in the slot, Garrett Wilson behind Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims behind Corey Davis. So he wasn't lying about one thing. That Mims behind Corey Davis. So
that. I don't think anything really surprised me too much on the wide receivers. As far as the running backs go, I kind of we talked about it a little bit, especially with talking fantasy football and stuff like that. I think Michael Carter was a great pick in fantasy football this year because I don't necessarily see Breece Hall being a 3-down back right out the gate. I mean, he's a rookie. Michael Carter is a year under his belt. I think Michael Carter has improved this offseason. So, I do see a committee here. Breece Hall is going to get in the game, obviously, even though Michael Carter might get the first snap. So, nothing too crazy on the offensive depth chart for me that stood out. Alex, I don't know about you if you saw anything that was too crazy. Ty Johnson being the third running back, though, over Bam. Bam's on the practice squad. We signed him back. I was happy about that. But that was kind of a surprising move.
I mean, I think that's kind of over Zonovan Knight. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, Ty Johnson wasn't cut, so you would expect the guy who wasn't cut is going to be your third string running back. But yeah. Other than that, no, there's nothing really shocking about this, about our depth chart. I think it's pretty much set. I think we know who we're rolling with. I think we understand who is the starters at this point. We know guys have gotten injured during training camp. So this is the team that we got. Hopefully guys are able to come back soon, but let's go.
I'm glad you mentioned Bam. He got cut. Everyone was freaking out about that. Made it through to the practice squad.
Yeah, that was huge.
I mean, Iowa State looks terrible without him, so we'll get into that on the Winning Picks Weekly episode. I'm still excited about Breece Hall, but it's not all going to come out in week 1. Fellas, we talked about the offense. We talked about the defense, the quarterback, the coach, the manager, the fans. That's it. We did the injury reports. We can't hide from it anymore. We talked about the spreads. Can't hide from it anymore, guys. We have to call the game. We need our official picks for Jets versus Ravens. Home opener, 9-11. Week 1, Joey Flacco revenge game. Morgan
Jets
Moses
winning,
revenge game.
Jets winning 27-23.
Oh, Jets in the over. All right. Greg, he's sprinkling on the money line over there.
Give me Jets 17-14. Last second field goal.
Jets win.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. Tune into Winning Picks Weekly, baby. I got a Hail Mary parlay that'll knock your socks off this week.
Okay, all right.
It's the New York state of mind. Let's just say that.
I'll go 16-13 Jets.
Let's go.
But I'm not confident. This is a total heart pick. I am not touching this game on Winning Picks Weekly. Have the tides turned? Like, Greg called me crazy for liking the Jets last year. This guy's taking them and hyped about it. Alex making fun of me all year for being optimistic. This guy's thinking the Jets are gonna walk in there and beat the Ravens week 1 at home. Like, with the Flacco making big plays. All right, like let's see. Let's see. I'm excited about this season. Look out for the Jets reviews episodes. I'm gonna be in Denver this week, so we'll see how that works out. I'll come back late Monday. So we'll figure out how the Jets review is going to work, but look forward to Jets previews and reviews for every game. Of course, Winning Picks Weekly got the college slate and the NFL slate every single week. And then, of course, the Knicks. The Knicks are always alive. The Knicks are always doing stuff. So check us out on Knicks, Jets, etc. Period. That's our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe so you can hit that notification button so you know whenever we drop a new episode. Leave us a comment. We always get back to you, and we appreciate it. Lots of banter, especially on the Knicks episodes. I'm sure you guys have some thoughts now that the Jets finally starting back up here. So let us know what you think there. Also, on top of the Jets and the Knicks playlist there is the Winning Picks Weekly episodes on the YouTube, but they're also on a separate Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play playlist. So if you could subscribe to both podcasts, not only Winning Picks Weekly, but the Knicks, Jets, etc. Find us on Winning P Weekly on Twitter. Catch Alex on Knicks Fan TV. My man talking to Derek Harper the other day, trying to get an answer to Jalen Brunson and the Knicks with another number 11 from Dallas. That was fun. Greg going crazy on Winning Picks Weekly. I mean, anything else, boys?
No, we're in full swing.
Seasons are starting back up. So I feel I don't know how the summer passed by so quickly.
It's crazy.
I don't know how we're back in fall.
Dude, I'm ready for the Rangers home opener in a month.
I went out. I was outside. I was outside. I went out in a t-shirt and shorts. My goodness, was that a terrible decision up here? I was freezing.
Yeah.
It's 67 degrees outside.
Yep.
Freezing out here.
Shout out Lawrence
What am
Cager
I
one more
doing?
time though. Madden. I'm playing an Ultimate Team this year. Got Team of the Week honors. Has his own card out there. Shout out to him. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
My boy. I'm so happy.
I need more Jets in there.
That's the best case scenario. And dude, shout out to shorts and hoodie weather. Let's go. Best time of the year.
Absolutely.
Hoodie season, baby. It's all about that hoodie season. All about the hoodie season. We already know
Let's
what
go,
it is.
Jets.
Thank you everyone for tuning for another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. Catch us next week for the Jets breakdown, another Knicks episode, another Jets preview. We back, baby. 3 episodes back. We out.